Imagine waking up tomorrow and rice is gone. Not expensive, not rare, completely gone. Half of Asia would face hunger overnight. Entire food systems would collapse. Cities would feel the shock within days, because rice is not just food. It is the backbone of civilization. Every quiet white grain carries wars, empires, forced labor, faith, and survival inside it. Rice has decided where people settled, how governments ruled, and whether society stayed calm or fell into chaos. When rice thrived, civilizations grew. When it failed, history changed direction. This is the story of a food that never demanded attention, yet ruled the world in silence. It does not crack like bread or sizzle like meat, but it connects land, water, and human life more deeply than almost any other crop on earth. This is not just the history of rice. It is the longest survival story humanity has ever written. Our journey begins nearly 9,000 years ago in the valleys of the Yangtze River in ancient China. Long before cities, long before writing, communities lived near wetlands where wild rice grew naturally. At first, people simply gathered it, but slowly, they noticed something remarkable. Some plants held onto their grains instead of dropping them. Some grew stronger near water. Humans began saving seeds from the best plants and replanting them. Without realizing it, they were shaping evolution. This was the birth of Asian rice, Oryza sativa, one of the most important domesticated crops in history. Rice changed how people lived. Unlike dry grains, rice thrived in flooded fields. Farmers learned to control water, building dikes, canals, and paddies. This required cooperation. One family alone could not manage a rice system. Villages formed, then towns, then early states. Rice demanded planning, timing, and shared labor. In return, it gave reliable harvests and enough calories to support growing populations. Civilization did not just rise beside rice. It rose because of rice. As rice farming spread, it reshaped landscapes. Hills were carved into terraces, so water could flow gently from one level to the next, like green staircases climbing entire mountains. These terraces, still visible today in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia, are monuments to human persistence. They turned rainfall into food and mountains into farms. Rice became deeply tied to power. In China, emperors taxed rice, stored it, and used it to prevent famine. Control of rice meant control of stability. But rice was about to do something even more powerful. It did not just feed people. It began deciding which civilizations would rise faster than all the others. But Asia was not the only place where rice was born. Thousands of years later, in West Africa, along the floodplains of the Niger River, a different story unfolded. Local communities independently domesticated African rice, Oryza glaberrima. This rice was tough. It resisted pests, floods, and poor soils. It was perfectly adapted to African conditions. African rice was more than food. It was heritage, ritual, and identity. It appeared in ceremonies, seasonal celebrations, and community life. Even today, some communities grow it to honor their ancestors, preserving a grain that modern agriculture nearly erased. Back in Asia, rice continued its quiet expansion. It reached India and Southeast Asia, becoming central to daily life. In Japan, rice was sacred. Shinto beliefs tied rice to the gods themselves. The emperor performed ritual rice planting ceremonies to ensure harmony between heaven and earth. Rice was wealth. Samurai were paid in rice. Power was measured in how much rice land one controlled. One of the most important moments in rice history came not through conquest, but through sharing. Around 1,000 years ago, a fast-growing rice variety from the region of Kampa, in today's Vietnam, was introduced to China. This rice matured quickly and survived drought. Chinese officials distributed it widely. Farmers could now harvest 2 crops a year instead of 1. The result was explosive population growth, expanding cities, and a flourishing economy. A single grain helped fuel one of the most advanced societies of its time. And if a single crop can reshape entire empires like this, imagine how many everyday foods around us are hiding similar stories. If you are enjoying this journey into the hidden forces that shaped our world, this is a great moment to subscribe, because this channel is about uncovering the powerful histories behind ordinary things we think we already understand. Rice also traveled west, slowly, through trade routes and empires. It reached the Middle East and the Mediterranean. The Romans knew rice, but it was rare, expensive, and often used as medicine rather than food. True rice cultivation in Europe only expanded centuries later, when Muslim farmers introduced advanced irrigation techniques to Spain and Sicily. Even then, rice remained local. never replacing wheat as Europe's staple. Across the oceans, rice would become part of a darker chapter in history. During the transatlantic slave trade, rice arrived in the Americas, but it did not arrive alone. Enslaved Africans carried generations of rice farming knowledge in their minds. In the wetlands of the Carolinas, this knowledge transformed swamps into productive rice plantations. European landowners grew rich, but the system depended entirely on African expertise and forced labor. Rice built fortunes, but it also witnessed immense suffering. Today, the rice-based dishes of the American South still carry echoes of Africa. Over centuries, rice shaped daily rhythms. Planting seasons dictated festivals. Harvests marked survival or hunger. Rice appeared in weddings, funerals, and religious offerings. Across cultures, throwing rice symbolized fertility and abundance. Sharing rice meant peace. Refusing it meant conflict. Then came modern science. Farmers learned more about soil, water, and plant genetics. New rice varieties increased yields dramatically. Mechanization replaced hand harvesting. Today, machines can reap in hours what once took weeks. Rice feeds billions daily, from bustling cities to remote villages. Yet challenges remain. Water shortages, climate change, and the loss of traditional rice varieties threaten the future. The same crop that once stabilized civilizations now depends on careful protection. Rice today exists in two worlds. In one, vast fields and factories produce uniform grains for global markets. In the other, small farmers and artisan growers preserve ancient methods, unique flavors, and biodiversity. Just as sourdough returned to bread, heritage rice is quietly making a comeback. People are remembering that food is not just fuel, it is story. The science of rice is as elegant as its history. Flooded fields suppress weeds, water regulates temperature. The plant channels energy into grains, packed with carbohydrates that sustain the human body. Simple biology, perfected through thousands of years of human observation. But rice is more than science. It is memory. It is comfort. It is the smell of home kitchens, the sound of fields under rain, the quiet promise of a full bowl at the end of a hard day. From ancient Chinese wetlands to African floodplains, from imperial ceremonies to family dinners, rice has walked beside humanity through triumph and tragedy alike. So the next time you eat rice, pause for a moment. You are not just eating a grain. You are tasting thousands of years of patience, labor, belief, and resilience. You are holding a piece of human history. First imagine waking up tomorrow and rice is gone. Now imagine the thousands of years it took to make sure that never happens. If you enjoyed this journey through the hidden history of rice, press like, share this story with someone who loves food, and tell us in the comments how rice appears on your table. Subscribe for more documentaries on the foods that shaped our world. Because behind every simple meal, there is a story waiting to be told.